Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first episode of the Armchair View. This is a brand new fan channel where we look to bring you everything in terms of reaction, podcast, debates of all the latest going on in football. And we'll also touch on the past a little bit as well. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. Anything you can do in terms of likes and subscribe, it's really appreciated. Just going to see what we can do. We're all in lockdown, so let's try and have a little bit of fun as we go. So this first episode, we're just going to have a look at the season so far. We're here on the 8th of February. So halfway through the season, about 22 games gone, and we just have a little look back at what's been so far. Then going forward, like I say, after the key matches, we'll have a bit of reaction from different fans, and then those all fun podcasts where we talk about who's better than who done it better, who was the best team. But first of all, my first guest, if you follow our other podcast, you may know him from the Urban Rap channel. He is Bill. Bill, thank you so much for joining us in the first episode. I really appreciate it. So first of all, tell everyone who you support.
Right, so I'm going to go off and tell you I support, sometimes the accent comes out, sometimes it doesn't. But I support Manchester United. You might sometimes get a glimpse of that northern accent come out. I promise you it will eventually.
Well, I know Bill works in Guildford near Surrey a bit, so he's perfectly suited to supporting Man United in that sense. Works perfectly. But no, first of all, Bill, what's your thoughts on the season so far? Just a general overview. How do you think it's gone?
Season so far, it's been a bit of a mad one in terms of the players haven't had that break that they used to. They're used to having this mad long holiday where they go to Barbados and the Maldives, etc., and they have this kind of relaxation and away from football. Obviously, with the pandemic that's going on at the moment, they haven't really had the opportunity to go away and recharge their battery. So would they have like a 2-3 week break in between?
I think it was about 4 week break max. I don't think it was a bit more than that.
There was hardly anything, and I think it's really shown there's a lot of fatigue, and this season there's a lot more injuries that are happening because of this, the break basically. And this season, in terms of rules and VAR, it's just a crazy one.
Well, I think the VAR one is obviously an interesting one, and I'm sure we'll circle back to it. The break's interesting because it's this season, it's new to everyone. No one really knows how to approach it. I think you saw that in some of the results. Liverpool beaten 7-2 by Villa, the 6-1 Tottenham against Man United. Even some of the other results. We don't want to talk about that one. Even seeing like Arsenal start to the season, or after the first few games, I know they were 4th at the start and then they dropped down to 15th. It's pretty amazing to see. But then what I would say is all teams have had the same break or lack of. All teams have, and I think some have just managed it more than others. Obviously, as we're talking, City are flying. Fresh off an amazing victory at Anfield, absolutely demolished Liverpool. And, that's something that, although Liverpool did lose their home record this season, no one's done a 4-1 against Liverpool. That's impressive. Yeah. So I think, and it shows because they've got probably the best squad in the league, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So clearly it is a season where Guardiola's got the luxury of his squad and he's using it. In terms of, let's look at the season so far. So there's been a lot of freak results. I brought up the Liverpool Villa, the Tottenham Man United one. There's been some crazy results. Let's put it this way, what's been your highlight of the season so far? What do you think is really...
My personal highlight of the season so far?
Okay, so it's a Man United fan talking. What's been your highlight for Man United?
I've got 2 so far.
Okay.
We've had last week where we beat Southampton 9-0. That was a brilliant result. And then it got even better when Liverpool got beat by Burnley at home. That was fantastic.
So your highlight, one of the highlights of the season is a game that didn't even involve your team.
Well, the first highlight did involve my team.
The second one didn't.
The second one didn't, but coming from a United fan, that was amazing. And we should have done it to you the week before because you were there for the taking the week before.
I agree.
It hurts that it wasn't us.
I think the phrase rent free comes into it now. Clearly we're in your heads, but that's fine. That's fine. But no. Well, let's talk about Liverpool. Yes, for those who don't know, I am a Liverpool fan. In terms of Liverpool season, the 7-2 Villa, the draw away to Brighton, the home loss to Brighton, the home loss to Burnley. Those sort of results really did sort of, in between was really good. In between was, they were playing really well. Well, no, the results were well. They were never really playing well. They had a 7-0 at Palace, obviously. But the big Liverpool talking point is injuries. You know, that's the massive one. Van Dijk, obviously gone till probably next month. He's looking to come back. Alisson at the start as well. He was out for quite a few games. There was Gomez, Matip, Thiago was out for about 6-7 weeks. Mane was out for a little bit. COVID with Salah. Could go on forever here. Fabinho, obviously, as well. Trent was out for 6 weeks. Why? First of all, it's easy to say, you know, they were obviously bad fouls. Van Dijk was a bad one, whatever else. But do you really put it down to the lack of preseason? You know, the short gap, the short break?
What, in terms of Liverpool's current form and what's going on with Liverpool at the moment?
Probably more the injuries, the amount of injuries
The
they
injuries,
sustained.
I personally do think it is down to the lack of time they've had off and the lack of, it sounds as stupid as it sounds, the lack of work that's been able to be done to the grounds also. I mean, I think, about 2 weeks ago, Leeds had to have their turf relayed, which Tottenham donated to them because it was in such a poor state. And I believe that the grounds haven't been able to have the maintenance that they normally would have throughout the pre-season. So the ground's a lot harder than it normally would be. And yeah, there's just the players not having that break and being able to have just that relaxation.
No, that makes perfect sense because I'm right there with you on that one. You know, the quality of surfaces, it's always been amazing in the Premier League. And most of them still are, to be honest. But it is the odd ground. Maybe there's smaller teams, although Leeds are probably not a smaller team. But in terms of the grounds, you know, they've come up from the Championship. You know, it really shows. And I think the quality of football is pretty amazing because Leeds is someone who they fizz the ball around probably better than most.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to say I agree with the football they play because look at the table. But if you look at like Bielsa ball, I don't buy into that. I'm sorry. You know, when you're getting beat, was it 6-2 against Man United and all these results? You know what? I actually think they are. They remind me of Liverpool 4 years ago, the year before they reached Champions League final, when Liverpool outscored in terms of goals scored everyone in the league.
Yeah.
But they finished fourth. And that was a season where Salah got 44 on his own, you know, broke records for fun. They remind me of that. They're just trying to outscore because they can't defend. And that was Liverpool that year. Without a doubt, that was Liverpool.
If you look back to the start of the season, the first game of the season, which was Liverpool and Leeds, it was like end-to-end stuff. It was like blow for blow. It was like a bad boxing match that had no tactics.
I do feel a bit for Bielsa, I'm not going to lie, because when we all saw that game, we thought, this is going to be brilliant. Leeds are going to play football. And he carried on playing that way, but now we're like, well, no, you shouldn't do that. So we enjoyed it at the time or whatnot. And I think there's still games like when they beat Leicester 2 weeks ago. That was brilliant. Brilliant football. And I've got to shout out probably one of my players of the season so far, Patrick Bamford, has been immense. I think he's such a good striker, so underrated. And he scored a great goal that game. But the football they played, you know, they can do it to the best. Let's be honest, they can.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think they can go toe to toe with the best teams in the league. It's just, they do get found out sometimes at the back, I believe. Like all this whole you must follow your man. I don't buy into that at all, because what happens if you've got your right back who then ventures into midfield? If you then win the ball back in defence, you've got no kind of outlet on your counter at all, because your left or right midfielder is in a central position.
No, I totally agree. It's like, just off the top of my head, if someone like Alioski who plays fullback for them, if you've got Mahrez, someone who cuts in for fun and ends up probably in the penalty spot. If Alioski's gone in with him, you're just in all sorts of trouble in the back. Like,
precisely.
Left back's gone for a walk, but he's gone shopping. End of that. No, you're not going to come back. But Leeds is an interesting one. What I do want to talk about is Arsenal. Now, Arsenal, I've just started a fan channel here. You know, Bill's going to be a fixture on it coming forward as well. So we've just started a fan channel. And probably the best fan channel is AFTV. And I'm a follower. I'm a supporter of it, to be fair. I like the fact they've got a platform. I enjoy it. Probably for different reasons to why they do it, but I enjoy seeing the rants and whatnot. But Arsenal, try and explain their season so far.
Very lackluster. It's they've never really got going, have they? They'll have one good result and then they'll go and play Wolves and lose, or they'll go and play Leicester and lose. Don't quote me on that Leicester result there. I just don't think some of the players wanna work as hard as they should be. Aubameyang being a prime example of that. Before he signed that contract, he was up and down the pitch. He was running back trying to win balls. Now he's more than happy just to kind of stand out on the left. And if the ball doesn't reach him, start laughing and just do a little applaud. And I
I
just,
totally agree with that Aubameyang comment. I've said it many times on social media. He should not be captain of Arsenal. He's not a captain because he just smiles too much when things that go his way. He just smiles and laughs it off. Like, don't get me wrong. How many times have we heard the phrase, "Oh, he plays the game with a smile" about other people, and we love it. But they're the Ronaldinhos of the world.
yeah,
You know, that's them. They can do it. You know, because they back it up week in, week out. For someone like Aubameyang, and we got to remember, this is a team who won the FA Cup last year. This is a team who they won the Charity Shield at the start of the season, which, yeah, Charity Shield is Charity Shield. But at the end of the day, when they beat Liverpool on penalties, you thought, hold on a minute, like, they've just given them a really good game. And Liverpool fan, but Arsenal ran that game. El Nini was amazing in that game, if I remember right.
yeah.
So it's pretty incredible to see just where they got. What do you put it down to? Obviously, there's a lot of talk about Aubameyang's contract. Once he got it and signed, he's all, you know, just, I don't give a crap anymore, whatever else. But what do you put it down to as outside looking in?
I just put it down to I just don't think there's true fighters in that team. And it's I say the same for United quite a lot. There's not players in there of the old. You haven't got that Vieira in the middle of the park. You haven't got that rock of a centre-back. You haven't got that Henry that's cutting in and this scoring beautiful goals. You know, there's not fighters. There's very good technical players within that team. I mean, they've just signed Odegaard, another very technically gifted player. Yeah. They've got what's his name? Danny Ceballos from Real Madrid, also very technical player. But I just don't think these players they've got that like hunger and that aggression in them which is needed in the Premier League.
No, I totally agree. I think the fighters one is interesting because I agree. But you look on paper, the likes of Xhaka in there. He's someone who'll put a foot in. You know, David Luiz, an old head from the Premier League. You'd think, right, I'll go put a foot in. The Vieira situation, yeah, it hasn't been addressed since then. And there's a lot of pressure on Thomas Partey now to be that guy.
I'm sorry, no, not at the moment for me.
At the moment, I agree, he's not. But when I do watch his performances, he is probably the best player on their pitch. He is normally the best player, but it's just a case of what made Vieira so good is he had Petit next to him first, and then he had Gilberto Silva, who for me was one of the most underrated players to ever play in this league.
Yeah.
It's just like he had that insurance there with him. With all due respect, Xhaka is not that insurance.
No.
He's really not. And I think we all know that. Don't take a rocket science for that. But I agree with that. I did see something, though, in terms of Thomas Partey today. From 2019 to the point where he signed for Arsenal, he has had more injuries at Arsenal than he had in that whole period before. There's just something about Arsenal and injuries. I don't know what. Like, before it was a running joke, Diaby, Van Persie, Wilshere, it was a Rosicky. It was almost a running joke. Now it's like, I actually feel sorry for this team because there's something not right. And you can't blame the manager because Wenger's gone. So what is it?
It's probably something to do with their training ground pitch. Probably didn't have maintenance or something. No, mate, I don't know the answer to that question, in all honesty. It's an odd little myth, isn't it? An odd little rumour.
All right, so one last thing on Arsenal before I leave them alone. And I just want to put out there, by the way, it's not all bad. Tierney's been brilliant. Tierney's been superb. And I think he's a great player. Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, very good players going forward. So we're not saying it's all bad. It's just a bit odd that the likes of Pepe haven't stepped up. Laka's been okay. Aubameyang, it's not Aubameyang. But what I will say, one last thing on Arsenal. Willian.
God.
Hold on, before we start, this is a guy who, for about 2 to 3 years at Chelsea, was brilliant. You know, he was brilliant. And then obviously, okay, last couple of years, not so much. But he's not a shadow of his former self.
Look, surely being a top 6 club or top 4 club, whatever you want to call Arsenal, top 8, top 10 at the moment, maybe.
Top 12 at the moment.
We'll keep going in a minute. Surely looking at a 33-year-old who's clearly past the peak of their career, why would you go and sign him on such higher wages where you've got Saka, who is a talent, you've got Smith-Rowe, who is a real talent, and I believe you normally say to me all the time, I always say Arsenal had that player missing who can play that ball in behind, and I always say Grealish would be fantastic at Arsenal, but you always say Ozil was the man for that job, and just to put up, okay, very lazy off the ball, but actually technically gifted. He was fantastic.
Well, I said with that Arsenal team, when they got Partey, and I thought, right, if you have Partey plus one sitting, then you have your front three. For that number 10 role, that cam role, there's probably not a lot of people in the world you choose above Ozil for someone to play a free role
Yeah.
and just to be expected to put the balls in. Literally that. You probably wouldn't go much further than Ozil in the world. Don't get me wrong, there's a few others in here, there, and everywhere, but as a number 10, free role, just play through balls. There's not too many above him, but
He played a fantastic role in that Real Madrid team for years upon years upon years, and he was in a German winning World Cup team.
he was. And I remember in the 2010 World Cup, he was superb against England as well. And then before that, in the under-21s World Cup, he was brilliant. But hey, who knows? Fair play to Arteta. I think a lot of people wanted him out for a while. Then he has come back with a good little bit of form. So, you don't like to see anyone getting sacked. And I actually like Arteta as well.
Yeah.
What he tries to do, I'll give him that. So, no, that's clear to see. Let's go to the team that are currently top. So, Man City, fresh off an amazing win against Liverpool. And they started slow. They started very slow. And now they look unstoppable. Somehow, John Stones has turned into John Terry. I don't know what's going on. Ruben Diaz is having the effect on City that Van Dijk had at Liverpool. He's having the same effect.
Yeah.
I don't know how these guys, like Stones and Diaz, have formed such a relationship at the back, but it's brilliant. And going forward, I will say it now because I was going to ask, for me, Gundogan is a player of the year so far.
Oh, 100%.
No one comes close. You can put your Grealish up there and whatever else, Salah's top goal scorer. But for me, Gundogan is top player this year so far. Where's it all gone right for City? What do you think about City? And do you think you'll catch them?
No, I don't think there's any catching them at the moment. I don't think anyone's going to catch them. I really think the key game was yesterday. If Liverpool did get a result there, I think that would have done wonders for the Premier League table. But Pep, he likes to have two players that play in every single position. And I always think that can be a bit dangerous at a club, because you then have players that are sitting on the bench that could get unhappy. They're on mega wages. These are big name players, but it seems to be going right for him. He's got two left backs. He's got two. Well, he hasn't actually got two centre backs. He's got three centre backs sitting on the bench or in the reserves.
Yeah,
that are great players, including Garcia. I think he's a fantastic talent, and he will be. I'm not going to say world class because we can't predict that at the moment, but he will be a very good player going forward.
And he looks like he's on his way out to Barca as well.
Yeah, he does. He looks like he's on his way to Barca, funny enough.
Obviously, they've got Laporte and Nathan Ake on the bench as well.
Ake, look, I totally forgot about him. How much they pay for him? 45 odd million?
45, yeah.
So it's something crazy. But, I mean, I think we all thought City were falling off a bit when they were sitting in, 11th?
Yeah.
After the first 7 games. But when you look at results, they only actually had a bad loss to Leicester of being 5-2. Yeah, every other game, they're scraping 1-0s, they're scraping 2-0s, and the last couple of weeks, they are showing that they are probably going to be the champions of England this season.
They look incredible. They're doing all this without a striker. I said in summer that when they let Sane go, they're in a real trouble, because I really thought, why the hell have you let Sane go? The guy's incredible, but shows what I know compared to Guardiola. It's pretty amazing. It is really pretty amazing to see, but I'm sure you agree. I think City are going to walk it now.
Yeah,
easy to say 100%. Now, but I think they will. So I asked you, well, we sort of agreed on our sort of player of the year so far in Gundogan. I don't think there's, apart from maybe Grealish gets close,
Yeah.
And I think he does get close, to be fair to him. He does. I've said Bamford earlier has been brilliant, of a surprise. Who have you been unimpressed with? Who's really let you down and you thought was going to have a really good season?
It's a bit of a question.
Without saying Chelsea players, because we can all go to Havertz.
I was thinking Havertz.
Both of them.
Now you're probably going to rip me to pieces here, and I always say I don't like him, but Firmino for me, it's showing. It really is showing up top with Bobby Firmino. And I always used to say, like, oh yeah, he links things up, but in this season, I just think it's been found out.
That's a fair point to say when you look at the games. I wouldn't say Firmino, because I think someone's actually worse than him in the Liverpool team, and that's Sadio Mane. I think he's been dreadful this year, and that doesn't mean, when I say dreadful this year, I mean against himself.
Yeah.
From previous years, he's been really poor. I think he's on about 3 or 4 goals this season. Firmino's got more. I think he's been really poor this year, and it's getting to that age where they're all 28, all the front three. They'll be 29 by the start of next season, which is still your prime. 28 to 30, you'd think is your pomp.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of rumours coming at Liverpool in terms of big signings going forward and whatever else. And I think the key one was everyone thought Salah would leave. I still think he will in summer. I think Salah's gone. He's out the door.
No.
If these Spanish teams can sort out their finances, that is. But I just think Mane's been such a letdown this year. And look, it is the schedule, like you say. Maybe it is the schedule.
Yeah.
Because he was hardly ever injured last year. So he played all of that, the back end of the season where Salah did have a break. I know it was COVID, but he did have that break as well. That's for me. So why you say for me? Now, I'd probably say Mane, if I'm totally honest. Mane for me. Obviously, naturally, I'll say Aubameyang as well. I think he's been...
Aubameyang, yeah.
Terrible this
season. I mean, in terms of looking at my own team, I'd love to say De Gea is having an absolute stinker of a season. Reason we're out of Champions League, reason we dropped 3 points on Saturday, and he just doesn't look like that kind of player that wants to get himself hurt. And being a goalkeeper, you need to take a smack in the head.
It's ironic because when he first joined, that was the exact criticism that was labelled at him. And then he's gone full circle because then he really sorted himself out.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you've gone back. You've gone back. But you know what? It's only halfway. It's not just over halfway through the season.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So all can change. A lot can change. I don't think it will in terms of title race, but a lot can change elsewhere. What I will say is, at the start of the season, take yourself back to September. I think the 12th it started.
Mm-hmm.
Who did you think was going to win the league?
Liverpool.
Really?
Liverpool.
That's a surprise because we had the conversation. I've always said, I said Liverpool wouldn't win it this year. I didn't think they'd be this bad. I'm not going to pretend I did. I thought Chelsea. I honestly thought Chelsea because I was brought into the hype. I said at the start of the season, they need a keeper, a left back, a centre back, a striker, and they bought all of those. And to be fair, Chilwell hasn't been too bad. Chilwell's been all right.
He's fantastic going forward.
Yeah.
At the back, no, sorry.
I totally hear what you're saying. Thiago Silva for me, given he's a free transfer, is probably up there for signing of the season. He's been immense. He's been immense. And they were unlucky with Pulisic's injury, but I really thought on paper, this team could do something. They could really be a problem. Get Kepa out of goal because he's crap. He's just absolute shit. Get him out of goal. But it just hasn't clicked. And obviously, Lampard's gone. Tuchel's come in, who is a proven winner, but he's a proven winner of PSG. I could probably manage that team.
Yeah, I think anyone. I mean, if someone gives me 500 for 600 million pound, I think I could make a team that gets to Champions League finals and semi-finals.
Exactly. You never won the big one, and obviously he paid for it with his job in December. But yeah, it's just an interesting one in that. In terms of the bottom half, the bottom three to be exact, are you surprised by any of the teams that are there?
Sheffield United, they are. Last season, I think they overperformed, they overachieved, and I think that's why it's so disappointing this season, because I actually like Sheffield United. I like the fight that they had last season. Don't look at me like that. I like the fight that they had.
Anyone like Sheffield United?
How can you not?
Just crap to watch.
Burnley are crap to watch.
Yeah, well, that's a different kettle of fish. But
the sooner they get relegated, the better. Apart from they can still carry Liverpool. That's good with me.
Keep going.
No, I'm disappointed in the way they're performing, but one thing I do like is that they're still backing their manager.
Yeah, Chris Wilder. He done a brilliant job last year. Superb job last year. I'm not too surprised to see him in the bottom three. I'm surprised to see how far off survival they are. I'll say that much. Because I think it's 12 points now.
Yeah, it's getting, there's a massive gap performing.
So I'm not surprised that. West Brom I'm not surprised about. Fulham I am surprised about. I'm not going to lie. I actually thought they'd have not a good season, but I thought they'd stay up. I thought the team in trouble this year were Brighton.
Yeah, possibly. But Fulham, they've passed the ball around, but there's no finish to them.
It's odd because the person that I thought would be brilliant is Mitrovic, and obviously he was dropped to the bench, and Cavaliero's playing now, and Bobby De Cordova-Reid is a great player, I think. I really think he has a bright future. Robinson on the left wing back as well is a good player, but I don't know, it just hasn't clicked. I think what they're missing is their manager. If Scott Parker was playing, he'd be the exact player Fulham needed. Someone to really just get in the challenge, grab someone in the dressing room, shake them, and be like, sort your shit out.
Yeah,
that's what they need. Yeah. They need Scott Parker put his boots back on, get down there. He was a great player. I come from East London, so I have a lot of West Ham friends and family. So I was able to see him in his pomp. But yeah, I think that's just what they're missing. I think, but I think it could stay the way it is now. Those three going down.
Yeah, I think the way the table's shaped at the bottom, in terms of the bottom three, I think they're goners, all three of them. The point, I think it's what, 11 points gap, 12-point gap?
I think it is something, 10, 11 points.
It's something like that. But I do think they are goners, personally.
No, that's fine. Well, before we sign off for the first episode, Bill, let's have a little prediction. I think it's too easy to say who's going to win the league because I think we both said City and we both agreed on the bottom three.
Yeah.
Who's your top four, though? Come on, your job's on the line right now. You'll never get another podcast next season otherwise. Who is your money on?
City to win the league. Second. Oh shit, this is difficult. I want to say us, but I don't think because we're not consistent enough.
Interesting.
I'm going to go us second. Liverpool third. Tottenham fourth.
Okay. I agree with the top three in that order as well. Actually, no, I don't. I personally think it's going to be City, United, Chelsea, Liverpool. And I said to you when Van Dijk got injured against Everton, I said to everyone, I said, fourth, I'll take it now as a Liverpool fan. I said, because I don't think people are going to realise just how much of a tactical impact it will have. And it clearly has. So that's my top four for me. I think that'd be one. Who would you say is going to, I know it's early to say, based on the first half of the season, if they carry on, who will be the player of the season at the end of the season?
Oh, God.
I really put you on the spot here because you wanted to be on here first. So I'm putting you on the spot.
Do you know someone who's really impressed me all season long? And I know you don't like him, Calvert-Lewin.
Oh, shit, man.
Oh, he's fantastic. In that six-yard area, just in front of the goalkeeper, he wants to get stuck and he wants to get hurt.
You're just describing the goal against United.
I'm describing his hat-trick.
I think that he had a great first 2-3 months of the season. Then he just went off the boil. He just totally went for me. It's fair enough.
I mean, we did say Gundogan earlier, so we'll stick with Gundogan.
Yeah, I think Gundogan. I wouldn't be surprised if Grealish wins it.
Yeah, great. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. If Villa can sneak into Europa League places, then give it to Grealish, I would really say. But look, there is, let me quick maths, 16 games to go of the season yet. We're on 22, 16 games of the season to go. It's going to be fun. We're going to come back with a podcast on a weekly basis as well as reactions in between. But Bill, first of all, thank you so much for coming on the first episode. Guys, again, if you could like, comment, subscribe, whatever it is you guys do, really appreciate it. And until next time, we'll see you again on the Armchair View.